Verio Rocker failed to kick a goal. Fierce rivals, and the Demons were hoping to maintain their undefeated record as Collingwood welcomed back Craig Kelly, who kicked their first. But Melbourne had plenty of firepower up forward. Doyle was superb in the air, while Andy Lovell gave the D's a 15-point lead late in the opening term. Brown then goaled for Collingwood, but it was disallowed, beaten by the siren. But nothing could deny the speedy Mark Fraser his first of the game.
Shepherded through, and it's a goal!
A dour second term, and both sides were unforgiving, Plain pulling Collingwood back to within 8 points of the Demons. Jakovic slipped off the ground with an ankle injury, but Melbourne kicked again through Doyle. Ballantyne was then stretchered off with a knee problem. It was the Demons by 19 points at half-time. A tough third quarter with scores hard to come by, as Sean White saved the day for the Demons. With 6.5 minutes to go in the term, the first major of the quarter, with Paul Williams cutting Melbourne's lead to 2 straight kicks. But the Demons made a blistering start to the final term and led by 25 points. But that dogged determination that we've come to expect from the Pies changed the complexion of the game yet again.
The Pies still a chance!
When Steins gave away a free kick, Tony Shaw made sure of the goal, and the difference was now just 5 points. A desperate final few minutes, the Demons surviving to remain unbeaten.
In reality, it was terrific to get the 4 points. We've got a lot to learn from it.
The West Coast Eagles rebounded from last week's hammering to outclass North Melbourne by 37 points at the MCG. The sharpshooters from the West kicked 10 goals straight before their first behind. In the battle of the superstars, Wayne Carey had the better of Glenn Jakovic, kicking 5 goals. David Loudon has more.
Right from the start, the Eagles warned the Roos victory wasn't going to come easily, but Carey converted. Then the Eagles kicked 3 in a row, McIntosh starting on the forward line. 14 points down, Carey was granted a lucky grab and he goaled to keep the Roos in touch. But McIntosh kicked 2 goals in 2 minutes at the start of the second term, which earned him a fridge for company. When Lewis snapped, the Eagles had 10 straight.
Another one! Number 10!
In desperation, Pagan moved Carey downfield, but sheer pressure saw West Coast lead by 31 points at half-time. More of the same in the third term, with Speaks and Main Waring kicking 2 unanswered goals. When Hetty snapped, the Roos were 55 points down. Archer goaled after this diving mark, and Nichols roved one against his old side to pull it back to 44 points at the last change. But the Roos had no chance of a comeback, with Lewis drilling a pass to McIntosh, and McIntosh returning the favour to give the Eagles a comfortable victory. David Loudon, 7 Nightly News.
Adelaide produced one of its most courageous wins with a storming finish against the Bears at the Gabba. The Bears look set to continue their unbeaten run at home, but the Crows, inspired by Tony Modra, booted 8 goals to 4 in the final term to win by 11 points. Dion Heyman reports.
Greasy conditions at the Gabba should have favoured the Crows, but Brisbane was first out of the blocks. Marcus Ashcroft spun out of a pack to give the Bears a flying start, and Boom recruit Alistair Lynch made it 3 goals to 0 before Tony Modra pegged one back in typical fashion. Temperatures rose in the second quarter, and it was the Bears who responded. First gamer Shane Tongery looked the part at half forward for the Crows, but they seemed to lose their way when Mark Visca was reported. Brisbane raced away to a 28-point lead. The Crows chipped away at the deficit in the third term. Modra and Champion engaged in a titanic struggle, but the Adelaide goal sneak struck a decisive blow moments before the last change as the Bears clung to a 14-point buffer. Brisbane kicked the first 2 goals of the last term to restore a 26-point lead, but it was Tongery who inspired the Crows' revival. Nigel Smart lifted, but Tony Modra stole the show again.
Modra at the back. Tony Modra's taken a screamer, had his name written all over it in the...
Lappin led Adelaide off the hook and was made to pay. Liptak's third goal for the term put the result beyond doubt. Dion Heyman, 7 Nightly News.
And at Optus Oval, Carlton was too good for the Swans, winning by 10 goals. The Blues were in control for most of the afternoon, and while skipper Stephen Kernahan was out of sorts, Cook booted 6 goals while Bond chipped in with 5.
Even the Sydney cheer squad was aware that Carlton on paper looked superior, although they had a few doubts about the salary cap. However, the Swans were first to score, ex-Lion Caven chipping in at the back of the pack for the opening goal. Cook replied with 2 goals for the Blues, and an easy one to Bradley saw the home side lead by the narrowest possible margin at quarter time. After the break, Carlton came out looking a far more desperate unit, and consequently it didn't take long for the onslaught to begin. Bond was proving elusive in front of goals. It looked all over when the Blues kicked the first 2 goals of the third quarter to stretch their lead to 51 points. But Carlton seemed to take its foot off the accelerator, allowing the Swans to kick 4 unanswered goals to remain in with a slim chance. However, a goal after a Cook screamer steadied things for Carlton, 33 points up at the last change. 2 goals in the first 3 minutes of the final term, one, a gem by Kickett, got Sydney within 21 points. But then Carlton shifted into another gear, slamming on the next 7 goals to wrap it up, eventually running out 60-point winners.
And Tony Lockett and Stuart Lowe made shock appearances for St Kilda's VSFL team against North Melbourne at the MCG today. Plugger hasn't played since hurting his thigh against the Roos in round 2. Today he showed he was ready to resume next week against the Swans with an 8-goal hit-out. But Plugger didn't appreciate the close checking of opponent Paul Geister. Lowe was quiet but is also expected to play next week. To the ladder.
Oh, have a look at this.
White climbs all over Rocker. At the back, Gavin Brown. Open run to goal. Did the siren beat him? Did the umpire
Now, of
hear
course,
it?
you've got to work out the speed of sound. It appeared that the siren sounded before it went on his boot. Now, 3 umpires out there just couldn't decide with the boundary umpire whether that was out of bounds or not. And the last minute of the game, the free kick against Tony Shaw within 20 metres of goal. Some bumps, Brown and Tingay. James and Lovell. And across at the MCG, have a look at this. Goliath himself, Wayne Carey. And a mid-air collision with Worsfold. Oh, the Rock of Gibraltar. And a bit of dwarf throwing across at Optus Park. A new sport. Let's get on to it, Channel 7. The play of the day at Waverley. Mick McGuaney, your heart out. Buckley runs to 50. And Yibbita, no, she cried, waving her wooden leg. No dice, out of bounds. The miss of the match at Optus Park, Bond, a sitter. And White of Brisbane, all on his own, can run in and goal. No, folks, no chance. And champion fumbles for Brisbane. And have a look at this for championship quality. Pele, eat your heart out. And a costly miss by Lappin. And the save of the day. Watch Sean White, Desperation Plus. Magnificent play. Highlights of round